All right, folks, we're going to be talking about the glorious finale coming up here for the XRP Bullrun and why people are going to be absolutely losing their minds. And before we get there, I want to talk about why XRP and Ripple is under attack and hated so much, as it's being completely disregarded, Ripple is, as the largest treasury company in all of crypto. It's not MicroStrategy. It's not this new company that Tom Lee spun up, the CNBC Bubble Vision commentator. It is not either one of those companies. Ripple is the largest treasury company in crypto, period. And it's not even close. And this is with XRP just at $3, not at some of these targets that we're going to be talking about here as we see the finale of the XRP bull run quickly approaching. So let's get right on into it, folks. For those who don't understand what's about to happen here, Ripple is about to have their trust charter granted to them by the OCC. The OCC came out today making this statement that they approve proposals to establish banks that have a reasonable chance of successful business and operations, provide fair access to financial services, and comply with laws and regulations, promote fair treatment of customers, and foster healthy competition. And that is absolutely what Ripple has been up to, a very successful business and operation. The whole basically goal of Ripple was providing fair access to financial services, always putting law and regulation first, and their customers, well, not everybody was happy with the deal that they offered. And I'm talking about the 15 executives that JP Morgan and others sent, right? They didn't want to have to kiss the ring of Ripple to get some XRP, but that's what has to be done. And that's why Ripple's under such attack. Now, we don't have a level playing field yet because we don't have XRP ETFs live. So we're going to talk about the corporate treasury companies here in 1 second, but a quick data point that's very important. What's happening now is more money is coming into the Ethereum ETFs than the Bitcoin ETFs. And this is a precursor to what's going to happen once the XRP ETFs go live. Nate Garassi with the update, another $500 million into the spot Ethereum ETFs yesterday. This is the 5th best day since launch. Now $2.3 billion over the past 5 trading days has flown into Ethereum ETFs. That's $2.3 billion in just 5 days. Right? JP Morgan's predicting 4 to 8 billion first year, and I think that they are grossly underestimating how much is going to flow into the XRP ETFs. Since the beginning of July, spot Ethereum ETFs have taken in nearly $1.5 billion more than spot Bitcoin ETFs, a notable shift. Now, does anybody have the option to go into an XRP or Solana ETF here in the United States of America? They don't. And when they do, you're going to see the shift. It's already gone from Bitcoin to Ethereum. And now this is in regards to inflows, right? The Bitcoin ETFs are still bigger by size, but relative to the inflows coming in, we now have more money coming into the Ethereum ETFs than Bitcoin. And once those XRP ETFs are available, well, I think you guys can fill in the blank and understand what happens next. Another reason why XRP is under attack. Now, why is Ripple being disregarded and not being covered when it comes to corporate treasuries? I have no idea other than this mass marketing campaign to suppress XRP and Ripple is still well underway. Because Ripple said back in 2017 that they had a simple goal of making XRP a world reserve currency. So not only are they treating it as a corporate treasury, they're actually looking to make it a world reserve currency, which nobody else is doing that. So they're doing what nobody else is even trying to do, besides the Bitcoin community. They think that it can be a world reserve currency. God bless them. Pump it up, send it, have fun. God bless you all. Ripple's actually getting it done, where it's actually being used as a store of value, which is the first thing that you need. And the second aspect of a world reserve currency is it's used as a medium of exchange. Now, Bitcoin, it can be used as a medium of exchange. It's just not a very efficient medium of exchange. But hey, to each their own. Now, this is the Wolf of Wall Street, Scott Melker, highlighting how Tom Lee is now the Michael Saylor of Ethereum. No question. Look at this post. Bitmine is now the 3rd largest crypto treasury behind only Strategy and Marathon. An incredible feat for such a young company. Now wait, hold up. The 3rd largest crypto treasury with Strategy and Marathon. Where is Ripple? Why is Ripple not being acknowledged? In fact, I mean, there's nothing like, it speaks volumes when you treat a currency as a reserve, when you lock it up in a time-locked escrow, where they don't even have access to sell it. I'm not seeing Michael Saylor with Strategy. I'm not seeing BitMine lock up any of their Ethereum or Bitcoin in some sort of escrow or time-locked oracle that they are, basically keeping themselves from being able to access it. Nobody else is doing that, but Ripple is. But why is Ripple not considered a corporate treasury company? This is all part of the misinformation that is still being spread against Ripple, and I'll show you why. I'll show you why here shortly. BitMine increased its Ethereum holdings by 2 billion. That's cute. Going from 833,000 to 1.15 million tokens in a lightning fast pursuit of what Tom Lee calls the alchemy of 5% of Ethereum's total supply. You got the earth, wind, fire, alchemy, science, volcanoes, thermonuclear, technology, goodness gracious, which crypto are the aliens going to use? I guess they're thinking it's going to be Bitcoin and Ethereum too. And I'm just joking about all these ridiculous things that these guys say, right? It's just funny to me. But to put it into perspective, BitMine's 2 billion Ethereum buy approximately matches Strategy's recent purchase of 21,000 Bitcoin, one of Strategy's largest Bitcoin buys ever. The difference is that BitMine's market cap is just 7 billion compared to Strategy's 115 billion. This is like a featherweight with 6 months of training punching as hard as a heavyweight who's been at it for decades. It's very cute, very cute. Now take a look at Ripple. But they won't. They continue to ignore what Ripple and XRP is doing. Now he says, at this pace, BitMine should become the second largest crypto treasury in a matter of weeks, if not days. Marathon still leads by about 1 billion in Bitcoin holdings, but BitMine is quickly closing the gap. Also, Bitcoin treasuries hold about 17.4% of the total supply and potentially 20 to 25% if you factor in lost coins, while ETH treasuries hold just 4.9%. That leaves plenty of room for Ethereum to catch up, at least reach half of where Bitcoin is in terms of treasury ownership as a percentage of total supply. Plus, and by the way, if you compare this relationship with Ripple XRP total, to the total supply, well, Ripple has about 40 billion Bitcoin, so that would be about 40% of the total supply. Now, of course, this is where they attack, and they say that XRP is centralized because Ripple has so much. Well, you can't attack us for Ripple having too much, but then also not acknowledge that Ripple's been treating that like a treasury asset since 2017 when they locked it in the escrow, and they told the entire world that they were working on making XRP a world reserve currency that's as liquid as a G10 currency. You can't have it both ways. So they just choose to ignore. Plus, Ethereum has far less supply than Bitcoin, so matching Bitcoin's scarcity-driven price impact will require even more active buying. The bottom line is that Tom Lee is making it nearly impossible for competitors to keep up. All this in just 5 weeks, ETH investors are finally on the right side of momentum and sentiment. Now, great, congratulations, have a good time, good luck, God bless to you. The fact of the matter is, when you look at how this is actually having to be acquired, Michael Saylor and Strategy, they're selling debt notes, right? They're selling their debt to go buy Bitcoin. Tom Lee, I guess, they're probably doing the same thing to go buy Ethereum, right? They're raising capital to go buy Ethereum. That's great. The difference is that Ripple has no cost basis. Another reason why they're so mad. They're so mad about this because Ripple created so much value in XRP after gifting it to themselves for free. So they have no cost basis. They're not having to sell any debt. And they're also in a position where they don't need to go public. But if they did, they would have the largest IPO ever. And they would make the rest of these little IPOs look so cute. So cute. The little bullish IPO today, 1 billion. That was so cute. And here's the numbers on MicroStrategy right here. Take a look at it. They have 628,946 Bitcoin. I times that by Bitcoin price of 122,680 today, and that gives you about $77 billion worth of Bitcoin is what MicroStrategy has. Now remember, the cost basis was not zero. The average price paid was actually 66,000 Bitcoin, which is about half that. So they've invested over $30 billion to amass this stockpile of Bitcoin that's now worth 77 billion. Not bad, not bad. Remember, the scheme is working out really well. And there's a reason why I call it a scheme. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, the scheme's working out really well right now for MicroStrategy. They're selling debt to go buy Bitcoin. Average price paid is 66,000. Price of Bitcoin's 122. All is well, right? But the problem is they're not even close to the value of the XRP that Ripple holds. Not even close. And so let's slide on over here, take a look at it. I asked, how much does Ripple own? And you get varying numbers, and Ripple's no longer putting out the market reports on a quarterly basis because those market reports were actually used against them by the SEC. Ripple's effort to be transparent with their reserves. They were the first to do it. They set the standard. MicroStrategy's trying to keep up, but they're not even close. That was actually used against Ripple in the SEC lawsuit, so they're stopping with the quarterly reports. But what we know right now, I went to the Q1 2025 report, and at the end of March, they had 4.5 billion outside of escrow and 37 billion in escrow. So for the sake of this argument, I'm just going to round off at 40 billion. Right? It's been some time. They might be a little bit more out of the escrow. Let's just say 40 billion to make our math simple. So we slide on over here, and XRP's price is at $3.27 as I record this update. 40 billion times $3.27 is 130 billion 800 million. 130 billion compared to Michael Saylor's 77 billion. So Ripple's bag of XRP, the net asset value of it is nearly twice that of MicroStrategy's. So Ripple is the largest crypto treasury company by almost 2x. It's not even close. Now, if you do the math and bust out your calculator, or you can do mental math, right, with XRP at $10, that net asset value of their XRP would be 400 billion. Now, there's no chance for Bitcoin to hit that big of a multiple from here to where MicroStrategy catches up, because in that same environment, XRP would be going up as well, and it would probably be going up even further. So it's just, there's just really no chance of MicroStrategy catching up to Ripple at this point. And this shows us that Ripple is the largest corporate treasury holding company out of anybody by a long shot. It's just not even close. And this is why they are ignoring it. This is why they're not talking about it. All the focus on CNBC is Tom Lee and Bitmine, and they're going to own 5% of the Ethereum. This is the next best thing, and Michael Saylor, he's going to raise some more debt to go buy some more Bitcoin. That scheme's continuing on. I don't know who the heck is stupid enough to give Michael Saylor your money, but hey, good luck, God bless to you. But this is why they're so upset, and why you're seeing all these attacks from the Chainlink Marines coming to attack XRP. Everybody and their brother coming at us. It's because they can't imitate, they can't even try to copy what Ripple has already done. They can't even try to. They can't even pretend that they're close. And so they just choose to ignore. And when they do have to acknowledge, then this is where the attacks are coming from. But let me make it very clear for everybody and spread the word far and wide so everybody can get this through their thick skulls, that MicroStrategy is not the largest corporate treasury company in crypto. Not even close. Ripple has them by double, and that's with XRP at $3. You just take, XRP at $7, right? You're going to be at 260 billion. XRP at $10, you're at 400 billion. Not even close to MicroStrategy at 77 billion net asset value. Bitcoin goes up to 150,000. Oh, wow, congrats. Still not even close. Not even in the same room. Big difference. And so I just wanted to make this video to explain that. But then we got to talk about this grand finale that's coming for XRP. And this is where they really are going to lose their mind. They're really going to lose their mind when this bag that Ripple has goes from being worth 130 billion today to a few hundred billion here in very short order. This is Tony the Bull Severino. Says the end is near in XRP, but it will be a glorious finale. Make sure your sell limit orders are set up in advance. And he has us going to what looks like maybe double digits, 8 to maybe 10 or $12 is where he has us going. And in my opinion, this is going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you have all these trader types out here that are telling everybody that the top for XRP this cycle is going to be, 8 to 12, maybe $15. And because they're running around telling all of their communities and all these people that still have bags of XRP that that's going to be the top, I believe that it will be a self-fulfilling prophecy. that we will top out XRP this year, probably below 15 bucks. But the reason why I still hold on to a $20 to $30 XRP for this cycle is because I'm including next year and the inflows that we see from the ETFs in this cycle. This cycle had Bitcoin ETFs, we've had Ethereum ETFs for a full year, and Ethereum's still struggling to break an all-time high. XRP's hit all-time high before the ETFs go live. And so our cycle's being drug out, and really we're disconnecting from the cycle, right? A lot of people are talking about the 4-year cycle being over. For XRP it is, and even for Bitcoin it has been adjusted and disrupted. And so I just want everybody to understand that when XRP does top out this year at, say, $8 to $10, maybe we go hit 12, 13 bucks and come back down, and we don't hit 20 or 30 bucks, and you come back and say, Zach, you were calling for 20 to 30 bucks. Remember that I said give us a year after those ETFs go live, because you need to give time for those inflows to come in. It's been 1 year since the Ethereum ETFs have gone live, and you're now seeing the 4th, 5th largest days of inflows ever coming in. I don't think that we'll have to wait that long for XRP, but still give us some time. And like Tony says right here, make sure your sell limit orders are set up in advance. This is why for the XRP that I'm planning on selling this bull run, I've been moving it all to Caleb and Brown, is because they don't charge spread or slippage. I want to run this clip here. This is Jim Bizzani from Caleb and Brown explain how they don't charge any spreads and how many of these platforms are going to hit you with those hidden costs when it does come time to sell or make a trade, not just on XRP, but your other cryptos. These exchanges are going to take advantage of you. Take a listen.
Yeah, so, I'll firstly just say that we don't charge any spreads or things like slippage. Unfortunately, hidden costs is something that are quite common in the crypto space and always have been. We're all about transparency, Caleb and Brown. So we just charge a flat, transparent fee of 3.5%. Now that fee can be negotiable depending on the volume that you're doing and the assets that you're trading with us. But we don't charge anything like spread, where for those that aren't across, it's the difference between the price that you buy an asset at and the difference between then when you actually sell that asset and the price you get for selling it. Unfortunately, it's something that is quite prevalent on exchanges. The best way to actually review whether you are being charged a spread is to try and buy an asset and then sell that asset simultaneously and look at the different rates you're getting. Often you'll find the price that you're buying it at is then a lot higher than at the price that you're selling at that exact same moment for the exact same asset.
Yeah, so you don't want to be put up with that. You don't want withdrawal fees or withdrawal limits, especially if you're cashing out big bucks. And so this is why I've sent all my XRP recently that I am going to be selling this bull run over to Caleb and Brown. This is going to be a glorious finale for XRP. The ROI that we are going to see on this investment is going to be tremendous. And that's just going to 10, 15 bucks, right? And like I said, the meltdown really comes because people aren't going to be able to explain XRP's market cap. How did it get this high? How is the army this big? And then when they're forced to have the conversation about Ripple, the net asset value of their XRP being $200, $300, $400 billion, these guys ain't going to be able to wrap their minds around it. It is going to be an absolutely glorious finale. But as Jim was explaining there, you got XRP right now at 326. And what he's talking about is if you go to buy it right now on a certain exchange, they're probably going to charge you 328, 329. If you go to sell it, they'll probably charge you 325, 324. And that's the spread that they're hitting you on. They also hit you with slippage. They're going to hit you with those hidden costs. And then when you go to pull out, hey, can you send it to my bank account? Oh, yes, we can, after we take another fee. And oh, by the way, you can only take out 10,000, 20,000. You got the limits too. Caleb and Brown doesn't have any of that. So to be fully prepared for this glorious finale, make sure that not just your XRP, but your other crypto that you are going to trade out of, make sure that you have it in the right spot, whether that be Caleb and Brown or whether that be with another platform. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. We have our community resources linked up down below. God bless all of you guys. Let's go enjoy the finale of this glorious bull run XRP is having. Thank you so much, and God bless you all. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.